And welcome back to another video by Enterprises Software Solutions, your number one software dudes. My name is Anthony, and in today's video, we're going to cover how to create a group in Exchange and then add users to it. So first, we'll start by looking at the different group types that are in Exchange. So there are 4 groups that we can create: Microsoft 365 groups, distribution groups, dynamic distribution groups, and mail-enabled distribution groups. So a Microsoft 365 group is the group that Microsoft recommends that you make if you're not sure. It's used for collaboration, so it means when you create it, it includes a shared workspace that shows up in SharePoint and Teams. So you get the full group experience, and you can add users to this, and the group can send and receive emails, and can be used to grant access in SharePoint. So a distribution group is a group that is only used to send and receive emails. And so when an email comes in that is sent to a distribution group, it is delivered to each member of that distribution group individually. Whereas with a Microsoft 365 group, that will show up under the groups header in Outlook. And a distribution group can contain users and other distribution groups. A dynamic distribution group is a group that when created, you define rules, and then the membership is dynamically updated to match those rules. And so like a distribution group, it is used to send and receive emails, and then mail is delivered to each member of the distribution group individually. So the difference here is that membership is defined dynamically. And lastly, we have mail-enabled security groups. So mail-enabled security groups are security groups that have been enabled to receive emails. So you can use them to grant access to various 365 resources, including SharePoint and Azure, but it can also receive emails. And in these groups, you can add users to them. All right, so to create these groups in Exchange, we want to start in the Exchange Admin Center. So if we look at the URL, we're in admin.exchange.microsoft.com, but we can also get here through the admin for the Microsoft 365 Admin Center and scrolling down and clicking on the Exchange option. So from here, I'm going to expand out the recipients option, go down to groups, and here we have our groups view. So you can see the tabs there for each of the different types of groups. And we're not going to go through the creation process for each of them. In this case, we're just going to create a Microsoft 365 group. So I'm going to click on the Add a Group option. And this will bring up the group wizard. And you notice that the Microsoft 365 group is the recommended group. It gives the most features of all of the groups. So I'm going to click on Next. I'm going to give it a name. Click on Next. And owners, if we add an owner to this, that is someone that is allowed to manage the membership. So you can add normal users if you don't want them to have to go through like the help desk to request it. So I'm going to add an owner and add myself here. So I'm going to add myself as the owner. And here's where we can add members. And so if we click on the add member, I can do a search for an individual. So for example, I'll also add myself as a member. So I can send and receive emails with this group, and I can access the team that it creates. Then go click on Next. And here's where you can define what the email address that is associated with this group is. And so I'm going to define that here using this just generic name. And we have the option to set the privacy. So public groups are groups that everyone can see and request to join. And private groups are ones that people have to ask to be able to see them. And they have to be members of that group. And we have the option to create a team for this group. I'm going to leave that checked. And here at the end, we can scroll through and review our changes if needed. So I'm going to click on the option to create group. And it'll take it a minute or so to create that group for you. And once it's done, you'll get this confirmation. And if we hit close, we should now see that group show up in the groups list. So that's how you can create groups in Exchange Online and add users to them. And remember, if you have any issues, please reach out to us because remember, we are your number one software dudes. Thank you for watching.